Hello, and welcome to Power Apps Raw. I'm Richard Wilson, and today we're going to be talking about the Azure API Management Service. We're actually going to be building upon the previous video I did, where I showed you how to take an OpenAPI file and import it as a custom connector. This time, though, we're going to be using that same OpenAPI file, importing it into the Azure API Management Service, and then publishing a custom connector automatically from there. So let's get started. So what you may be asking right now is, why would I need the Azure API Management Service? Well, what it really does is allows you to put governance around all the APIs you have within your organization. You can put them all in one spot. There's a custom portal that allows you to expose all the different APIs within your organization to people who, external clients, internal facing, anybody who might want to understand what data you have available. There's also a subscription service, which is great because in the case of like Macaroo, where we're maybe just purchasing one account, we can actually allow people to subscribe to that API using the service without ever having to know the actual Macaroo API key, which I'll be showing you here in a little bit. Additionally, it has some advanced options too. Say you have an older service, something like the United States Postal Service, where all their stuff comes back as XML. This actually has the capability of transforming XML into JSON, which is required for any Power Platform connectors. There's a lot of good reasons. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create an Azure API instance. I'm going to show you how to import the OpenAPI file I have out there for Macaroo on GitHub. We're going to add some inbound policies to that to basically add our API key for Macaroo, so that users will never have to actually see that. And then we're going to export and push a custom connector automatically to the Power Platform environment. And then we'll utilize that connector in a flow. To get started with the API Management Service, we'll go over to portal.azure.com. We're going to go to type in API Management, and you can see the API Management Services. We'll click there. I'm going to create a new one here. When the create screen comes up, I'm going to be asked for the subscription to utilize. I'm going to choose my one that has some credit on it. I'll choose a resource group. You can also create a new one from here if you need to. The region, the resource name, I'm going to call this Raw API Management. Organization name, I'll just put in Raw there. And then you can choose your pricing tier. I'm just going to be using the developer one here, which is actually going to limit some of the options I have as I run through this. I'm going to leave application insights off for right now, but you can turn that on. Scale, this is something, like I said, is not available in the developer version. Managed identity, you can choose whether or not to use that. Virtual network, your protocol settings, any tags, and then finally review and create. So again, just running through this as fast as possible. I'm just going to click create here at the end of this, and it's going to go on its way. I will say this can take a long time, so you may want to come back here later. It can sometimes take 10 minutes to an hour. So give it a little time, and then we'll come back when this is all finished. All right, we're back, and now we have our API service instance, management instance. So I'm going to click on Go to Resource. This is going to open up the API Management Service that we just created. Take a look here. As this comes up, some of the things you'll notice on this, we have our basic Azure sidebar here. We're going to start off by going over to APIs. So let's take a look here. Click on APIs. They're going to put an automatic kind of a hello world example in here called Echo API. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually go ahead and import our OpenAPI file. This is the same one that we used, the Macaroo one, in our other tutorial. So I'm going to create from definition. I'm going to click there. I can actually just do the same thing like we did with our custom connector. I'm just going to go over to GitHub, and I'll right click here real quick. Copy link address, bring that over here. Just paste that right in here into the OpenAPI definition. You can use a file if you want to also. You can see it already renamed it Macaroo based on the definition. I'll click Create. If you want to put an app URL suffix in here, we'll go ahead and just add that in here, Macaroo. Click Create. So it only takes a few seconds. After this is all done, we're going to go in and just test this thing real quick and make sure it works. All right. So you can see here we have our generate data action, which is the same one we were using previously in our other one. Now, if I want to test this out, I can click on generate data. And I'll go to test. And one thing I have noticed on here, when I did this in the custom connector, it allowed me to put true with an uppercase T. This will actually fail if I don't. So I'm going to change that to lowercase. I'm going to add a parameter here. I'm actually just going to do this in the body. And I'm just going to say our required body attribute was schema. So I'll do schema and I'll say contacts, which is the schema we were generating previously. And we'll go ahead and we'll click send. All right. So you can see that failed, and that's because the API key is required. So how do we get that in there, right? We've imported this. Now we actually need to get that API key sent over. To do that, I'm going to click back on the top level. I'll click back on Makaru. And this API key is used for all our Makaru calls. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this into the inbound processing policy for all the requests that are being carried out by Makaru. So with our Makaru API, we have two options. We can actually set the API key in the header, or we could set it as a query parameter. What's great about this API management service is we can choose whichever one we want. So in the inbound processing, this essentially means as we take the URL in from the user, our corporate user, we're going to add some stuff to the request and then send it to the back end, so to the api.makaru site. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click add policy. I'm going to do this one as a header. So our header name is going to be, let's go over to the Makaru site, X API key. So I'll come back here, do X API key, and now we'll go ahead and grab our API key from the Makaru website, come back over, paste that in, add the value, and there we go. I'm going to go ahead and save this. So now this header will be added every time a request is made through our API URL. So now we're going to go back to test. Give this another shot. So I'm going to go back to generate data. Change this back to lowercase t. I'm going to put this in the body. And we'll do schema and contacts. Again, contacts is the name of one of the schemas I generated on that website, on the Makaru website. Click send. And now we can see we actually got data back. So we have a request, got a 200 response. We have an array of all this data in here that came from Makaru. So we know our endpoint's working. So now that we have our Makaru API in the API management service, how do we get it to the Power Platform? Well, I'm going to come over here where it says Makaru. I'm going to click there. This is really easy. I just have to click export. And now you'll see over here, there's a Power Apps and Power Automate export option. I'm just going to come over here, click on that. It's going to give me my list of environments where I can put this. I'm just going to leave it in my default environment for now. I can give the custom connector a name. So I'm going to actually just capitalize that. Click export. And there you go. It's actually creating a custom connector right now in that Power Platform environment, which is awesome. Next, we'll go in and I'll show you how to utilize that with a subscription key and actually connect it up to some data. All right, so let's use our new custom connector that we just exported. I'm here in the Maker portal. First thing I'm going to do is just come down to Data, go to Custom Connectors, and you'll be able to see the Makaru connector that we exported from the API Management Service. So how do we use this now? All right, let's create a brand new flow. And we'll create a manual flow for right now, just to kind of show you how this works. Create an instant cloud flow. Manually trigger and create. All right, I'm going to add a new step. Just like in our other tutorial, if I come over here to the custom tab, I'll be able to see Mockaroo available to me. I'll click on Mockaroo. We have our one action. And now here's the big difference. So I need to provide an API, but this is not the Mockaroo API. This is actually going to be my subscription API for the API management service. So let's go back into that service and take a look at what that looks like. So back in the management service, I'm going to click on subscriptions. This is where you can decide what types of capabilities you want to give people in your organization based upon a key that you give them. So you can see out of the box, we have a starter, we have an unlimited, and then a service one. We don't want everybody hitting this Mockaroo API, right? There's a limit to how many times we can hit it per day. So you can set up different policies on each one of these subscriptions or create your own subscription. Maybe you only want to be able to hit it 5 times per day or 5 times per minute max, things like that. So this is where you can actually do all that. What I'm going to do right now, though, is actually grab one of these keys. So I'm going to just click here. I'm going to say show hide keys. I'm going to copy this key. Another thing you have to do to actually add this API to the subscription is click on products. I'm going to come over here to products. You can see here's our 2 subscriptions that we have. So we have starter and unlimited. I'm going to go over here. We can see the API. So the default Echo API that's included is in there, but we need to add ours. So let's go to add API and we'll go to Mockaroo, click select. And there you go. So now we've included the Mockaroo in that starter subscription. All right. So here on our flow, we'll create our connection. So I'm going to just call this Mockaroo API. We'll put in our subscription key and click create. Once this creates, then we'll see our custom connector. So we can go here, we can type in schema name, contacts. We're just going to do 10 as our record count. Again, if you leave this blank, it'll do the default that you set up in the Mockaroo website. I'll click save. Click test. And we're just going to manually fire this off. All right, let's take a look. There we go. We can see the flow ran successfully. We've returned 10 different records from Mockaroo from our contact schema, which is great. And again, I didn't have to know the API key for Mockaroo. All I had to do was talk to my API management administrator, get my starter key from them, and use that for my connection. So again, this is a great way for you to be able to just control the APIs in your organization. If you bought something like a Mockaroo one and you don't want to give everyone access to it, this is a great way to restrict that. So again, adding governance around who and what can access your data within your organization. Hopefully this helps you out. Wanted to take that last demo a little bit further, and I hope this helps. Thanks a lot. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.